Hello and welcome to the Just Mates podcast, where we aim to destigmatise men not speaking up about mental health. Remember to follow our social pages on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter at Just Mates Pod. You can listen to and subscribe to our podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Anchor and Apple Podcast. All the links are provided in the description. In today's episode, we discuss overthinking. It's quite a broad topic, but I think it's something that it's quite fitting for the time we're in, right, Sam?
Yeah, I don't know about any other people, but overthinking is often my biggest weakness.
Yeah, I can totally agree with that. And I think given our current situation, probably not everyone's, but a lot of people in the country and probably everywhere in the world really that are either made redundant or they're not working or they're furloughed or whatever it is, it gives you a lot more time to think at home.
Yeah, I think when you're not doing something, when you're kind of twiddling your thumbs or with your in your hands, it's just a bit,
Yeah.
You can't help but ruminate.
Yeah, exactly. And I think given the fact that we are in such shitty times, you can't help but not overthink, if that makes sense. Like when you've got so much free time, that's all you're going to be doing really, and there's only like an extent of keeping busy that you can kind of live up to. Like for me, it's obviously gym, this podcast that we do every week, what can I say, some other design work that I'm doing on the side, like whatever it is. But there's only so much of that can actually give you a routine.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it doesn't compare to work life.
Yeah, I think you are right in that sense. You're definitely right in that sense, mate, because I find if I do have a routine, I have less of a tendency to overthink things because I know what I'm doing. Whereas if you're in that bridge between order and chaos, I know I spit this every week, but if your life's a bit unstable, then you can definitely fall into that gap of thinking way too heavily.
Yeah, I think it's about giving yourself some focus points as well. Like obviously, if you're worried about something, you need to. Often or not, when you are worried about a certain something, you put all your energy into thinking about that thing and trying to find a solution for it. And you seem to, and I'm guilty of this, you forget about all the other things that are going on in your life and you forget to give them things energy, and it starts to become very detrimental and a knock-on effect of even worse things happening than what you're actually worried about.
Yeah, that's true, mate.
So like you could be worried about, just for example, you're overthinking about your job, and you spend 20 hours of the day worrying about your job, but you've completely forgot that you've got family at home that are probably there to help you, and you're neglecting that side of things in your life. And in the knock-on effect, they're going to not want to really talk to you because you're not really confiding in them.
I really like what you said there with the whole wasting energy thing, because if you really, really think about thoughts, about 90% of them are crap. It's just dead wood. They don't really thing. It's not, if you think about it, like thoughts aren't like a physical entity. They don't exist. They're just and it
sounds crazy to let yourself get so wound up over something that isn't real.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole premise of meditation and stuff, and what I've been learning is they call it mindfulness, and it's not actually mindfulness. Like, that's the wrong word. It's actually emptying your mind, because the suffering is caused by overthinking.
Yeah, and it makes your heart heavy and your mind heavy.
Yeah, it's I've overthinking has been one of the, if not the worst thing psychologically that's happened to me. Like it's really damaging.
Yeah, of course.
But I think with maturity, and especially if you practice meditation or you have like a hobby, that can really help.
It's just any form of distraction. It doesn't even have to be anything serious or even any form of mindfulness.
Yeah.
Any form of like just physical distraction. For example, it could be making sure you walk 200 steps a day or 1,000 steps a day. That's just another physical focus point.
Yeah,
And
I like your point about I was going to say it's literally find your focus point, and I've got a couple of things going on in my head at the moment, which I spoke to you about the podcast and like other things on top of that. But when I'm doing this pod, I'm not thinking about it.
Yeah, you're right. You're totally right. And that's what I was trying to get at before with your energy being wasted on one sole thing that you're worrying about, and you seem to just neglect everything else that's important as such. And of course, when you're worried about something, that's going to overtake everything else. But then you've got to remember that the more energy you focus on that, the less energy you're giving other important things, and then you're just going to find an imbalance in your life.
Yeah, that's true.
And the biggest thing with overthinking, and it will sound like so stupid that you're doing it when I say this, but if something's going to happen and you can't change it, you thinking about it is putting your mind through it twice. So you're now putting yourself through it before it's even happened, and then you're going to have to go through the same emotions when it actually happens. So
I think that's
the
what
biggest.
Mate, go ahead.
Sorry. The biggest takeaway is, why would you want to put yourself through something that's going to hurt you twice?
Yeah, that's that. I mean, I'm very, very guilty of that. So if I know, say, like a bad circumstance might come up or something, and I'm predicting that it will happen, I'll almost put myself in that situation, become emotionally damaged as if I were in that situation at that current point before I've been in that situation. So it's like, you are right, it's a double effect.
Yeah, so, and there's an extent of obviously preparing yourself for something that you can't change. Like, there's nothing wrong with getting yourself in, like, you're getting your mind ready for it, but to put yourself through that hurt when you know you can't change something, there's no point going through it twice. It's a really tricky one, because this advice we're giving, we could hear back when we're doing the exact same thing and not listen to it.
Yeah, that's one of the worst things I find with meditation. Do you remember when we had that guy come into to the office, and he was practicing meditation? He was teaching us how to do it.
Yeah,
he was saying, like, even he explodes, he overthinks and stuff, and there's no real solution to it. You can only try and decrease how much you overthink. Does that make sense? So, like,
yeah, you're right. It's like filling up a balloon with air. The more you fill it up, the worse it's going to get, and it's going to basically burst, isn't it?
Yeah, that's
so. You know yourself how much air that balloon needs to be right, so that it doesn't get to the point of explosion.
Yeah.
So you should treat your mind in the same way. Like, don't make your mind so heavy that it's going to weigh you down when you know how much pressure is going to be applied.
Brilliant, mate.
I don't know, that just came off the top of my head. I genuinely think I should be a guru.
You are, mate.
But I think, like you said, like the point of this podcast probably is to help people ease the fact that overthinking is probably one of the biggest killers of your mind state, really, and being in a negative mood.
If you really do think about it, overthinking is at the core of most mental illness.
Yeah. And we can relate it back to every other topic that we've just been speaking about in the prior podcasts.
Yeah, that's what I mean, man. So I know overthinking's caused me loads of pain and anxiety, and it's definitely led on to depression. I've got this thing where I used to overthink so much, and I still do to an extent. So this is so correct, mate. It's so weird that you mentioned this whole balloon kind of concept, because this is exactly what happens to me. So I'll be overthinking something, overthinking, like a balloon filling up, and then the balloon will pop, and like the pop is the result of me going into complete like panic attack or depression or just my body shutting down. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. No, you're right.
I really love that idea, mate.
Yeah, it's just the fact that it's like it's the same as like filling up your car tire. Like, I know it's the same concept, but you just know that you wouldn't fill it up past the point of the amount it needs. Like, you just wouldn't do it. You logically, you're not stupid that you would just fill your tire up until it explodes. So we need to treat ourselves with the same respect that we would treat objects, really. And we know ourselves that overthinking can cause even further hurt. It's just getting ourselves out of that mind state. Like, maybe I can ask you, what do you feel like when you are overthinking? What do you think personally that could help you?
Well, I know from experience, if I'm doing something, then such as like I'm at work sort of thing, I find I'm a different personality, really. If I'm doing work, then I'm doing work. Does that make sense? So I'm doing one thing at a time. So if something's going on in the background, say for argument's sake at home or something with friends that I don't like, if I'm at work, nothing else.
Your problems stay in the back of your mind while you're working, really.
Yeah, man. And I know people have difficulty doing that. Really.
It's just processing it, isn't it?
Yeah. What about you? Same question.
I think for me, it is a level of distraction, but I can get in these bubbles where, for example, I try to distract myself. Like, I'll put on a film, or even I'll go for a walk, or I'll even try so hard to be doing something physical, but I'll still be thinking about it. Mm-hmm. But I think that kind of vanishes once you actually just get invested in the thing that you're doing. So, for example, I'll be watching a film when I'm overthinking. Say, for example, I just put something on. For the first 10 minutes, I won't be watching a film. I'll literally be thinking about whatever it is I'm worrying about.
But so weird you say that, mate.
But as soon as you start to recollect your thoughts, and then you start watching a film with a bit more focus, or whatever you're doing, that little trigger is the point of where you stop overthinking and you start to think, shit, what happened in the first 10 minutes of that film? And then you get invested in the film and you completely forget about what you're thinking about.
Yeah, I know. I didn't really realize that you went through that as well. So I've always had this thing, right? So I don't know if I've mentioned it on a previous podcast, but it really hit me. It wasn't when I was watching a film, because I do that quite a bit, especially in the first like 10, 20 minutes sort of thing. If I'm thinking about work, if I'm thinking about personal issues, blah, blah, blah. But the only time that I kind of... it's weird. I used to go on holiday. I used to go and see friends and stuff. And I always used to question myself, like, why am I not enjoying this moment?
You said this, yeah. When you were in Thailand, you said. Yeah,
man, that's it. And I got to and I could never really clock it. But when I went to Thailand, I think I got to the top of this. I wouldn't really say mountain, but it wasn't necessarily a mountain. It was quite a high way up, and there was this beautiful scenic view. If I'm looking back, and I couldn't
process it
because I was in my head thinking about my own things, and it just that I think that's it. Just it makes you. It puts like a cloak over your eyes.
Yeah, you're right. Like, it's like you're being misguided by your own thoughts, and it's annoying, because in that state of mind where you are overthinking, nobody can make you feel any different other than yourself. And you know, sometimes, like we spoke about it with grief, like, and every other topic really, like, when someone's giving you advice when you're going through something, the last thing you want to do is just listen. You just want to just tell them, just shut up and just like go away. And you don't want to accept that they're right.
Yeah.
So I think in the same form, in overthinking, you just need to tell yourself that what you're doing is wrong, and what people are telling you to do, to keep distracted, to keep busy, to do this, to do that, they're only telling you for your own benefit. I think we're our own demons. That's all I can say, really.
I think, like, overthinking could be categorized as fear.
Yeah.
Quite considerably. And I think, do you ever I call it, I read a book, right? When was it? About a year ago, and they call it the bullshit cycle.
Yeah.
And so it's, imagine you get angry at, I don't know, you run out of fairy liquid.
Okay, right? Yeah.
You go, oh, I ran out of fairy liquid. And then you recognize that you're getting angry at I'd be getting angry at not having any fairy liquid, right? And then you get more angry because you're just thinking about it constantly. So it's like you're consistently judging yourself.
Yeah. It is a form of judgment.
Yeah. And it's this whole, it just makes you, it is fear-based, mate. It is completely fear-based. But when you really, really drill down to it, unless it's something where you're like, I don't know, you're going to war or something, a lot of the time, overthinking the majority of things, the outcome is never as bad as you think it's going to be.
That's a really good point. Like, I think we try to prepare ourselves so much to face the reality of whatever it is we're overthinking about, but when it comes to it, we've put ourselves through so much hurt and like anger about something happening, but it doesn't even happen that way, and then we're like, for fuck's sake, I've just wasted all that energy feeling so negative when it's actually not as bad as I thought it'd be.
Yeah, I have this in particular when I do presentations. So I'll be literally playing off every single scenario in my head, and which can be good in a way because you're ready for questions if it does come up. But I've been in so many circumstances whether I'm consulting or I'm doing uni work presentations or I don't know, interviews, and you get to it and it's nowhere near like that what you thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
So I just put myself through absolute hell for nothing.
I think it's, do you know what it is? It's the fact that you need to accept that overthinking won't actually change anything. Obviously, it depends on what you're overthinking about. So say, for example, it's a life decision you need to make about moving jobs, and you have to actually put some thought into it. That's a different level of overthinking. But when you're overthinking about something that you just physically can't change and it's going to happen regardless, I've said it before, there's a level of preparation that you obviously have to prepare your mind for it, but just stop worrying, because literally you can't change what's going to happen. So just let it happen, let nature take its course.
Do you know what I call that?
Yeah.
It's a deep English philosophy birthed from me. I call it the it philosophy.
You're right. It is. It's just about acceptance. Just accept it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I think that goes with anything. Grief, self-harm, death, anything. It is all about acceptance.
There is a level of freedom as well when you go from overthinking something, and then you just don't give a crap about it at all. And there is just like this serenity that you kind of feel, this ecstasy of like, oh, I don't give I don't care.
Yeah.
Oh. You know, obviously you have to care about things, you know, otherwise your life is going to fall into complete and utter disaster to an extent. But with general things, you know, the majority of it, just it.
Yeah, no, I do agree because, like you said, like and I said, we can't change what we're thinking about, whatever's going to happen. I mean, we can't change what's going to happen, and I'll have to keep saying it. Like, what is the point of putting your mind through it twice or three times? Or so, say for example, next week, you know for a fact, you know that your car's getting sold, and it's your favorite car in the entire world, and it's the car you've held on for years, but you know it's going. So in that week, why would you spend Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday feeling so sorry for yourself that you're losing the car, instead of spending the time with the car and doing things like going out in the car, driving the car, taking it for a long drive? We sometimes forget to appreciate what we have before it's even taken away from us.
You're very right there. And I was just thinking now as you were talking. So this is quite ironic, to be honest. You were talking, and it kind of was muffled because I was thinking of my own thing.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean? Because I do that quite a bit when I ruminate and think about things. But I was just thinking, is like on top of that, that this is something. So not everybody experiences depression, right?
No.
Not everybody is an alcoholic, right? Everybody overthinks.
Yeah.
So this is a bigger scale issue than with, you know, it's everybody. I mean, there's obviously varying degrees, but this is a bigger issue that needs to be tackled.
Yeah, I think as well, touching on that, Sam, is basically the biggest thing is that amongst girls, you can probably agree, they probably, if they're overthinking, they're quite open in their friendships. They will talk about how they're feeling. And girls do that a lot. And I can probably assume that most girls do. I'm not saying every girl, I'm just saying generally. But guys, with guys, like, it depends on the type of friendships you have with your boys. Obviously, I was saying, me and you, we talk about most things, like we're quite open with each other and stuff, and I've got a few other guys that I can talk to. But when do you ever really hear your friends say, like your guy friends say, oh, I've been overthinking, oh, I don't know what to do? They don't really say stuff like that.
No,
they just do it.
I mean, I mean, in the past, when I was a kid, if I had told my mate, I just can't stop thinking about, I don't know, I can't stop thinking about rugby practice, and they'd be like, oh, fucking hell, Sam, man up.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And it's not that. It would have probably been much better for him the guy at the time to say, I mean, given he was a kid, but it's like, it probably would have been much better for him to say, oh, it's okay, Sam, don't worry, we all overthink these things, you'll be fine, just have confidence.
Yeah.
And there's this thing, because obviously I play football, which shock, play American football, and this is one of the big things, right? So, you know, it's quite heavily strategic. So there's I play on offense, so there's specific routes and functions for every player, right?
Yeah.
So it'd be like you roll out to the side and catch the ball, but you equally have to know what everybody else is doing on that field.
Yeah.
In my first year of playing football, I can guarantee one of the reasons that I didn't do well was because I was in my head. So when the play was being called, I would be in my head thinking, right, he's doing this. He's doing this, she's doing this, okay, that means that opponent's going to be there. I was clocking everything.
So you're not allowing yourself to process it.
Yeah, and it would have been much better if I would have just gone, screw it, I know my route, I'm going for it, that's it, nothing else. And I've found, like, over the years as I've been playing, it's like, screw it, just do the route, and if you mess up, then you mess up, learn next time.
I think without sounding too, unempathetic, without sounding unempathetic, It is just kind of a just get on with it kind of thing with overthinking. Like, if you can't change it, don't think about it and just get on with it, really, without sounding too patronizing.
Yeah, and I find that's where success comes from as well. A lot of the time it's just screw it.
Yeah. Why do you think, and this is a question for me as well, but why do you think we even get ourselves in this state? Like, what do you even think? Why does it even happen?
Well, it's fear. It's the bridge between the known and the unknown, mate. It's fear. It's like something you haven't experienced yet because it's in the future, which could have stemmed from your past experiences of, let's just say, I don't know, trauma, which often causes, aspects of OCD, PTSD. It does stem from that. It's just past experiences, or it could have been just, the complete unknown. Like I was saying with football, like the first snap I had no idea what was going to happen. So I was absolutely shitting it. So it's like I've just said, it's fear. It's just complete fear, and you don't want to be hurt, and you don't want to fail. You don't want to feel humiliated.
I think with this, it all stems from yourself. And like we always say this on the pods, like if you wake up with a bad thought and you wake up in a shitty mood, it's going to reflect on the rest of your day. So, and I'm going to revert back to what I said at the start of the pod, is not to focus all your energy on this one thing that you're overthinking about, because you will end up neglecting stuff that's even more important, and you won't even realize that until it's too late.
One of the things I really find helps is, it doesn't work all the time with overthinking, because I'll just be so obsessed with intrusive thoughts and stuff, or just ruminating. But most of the time, it's like, how is this going to affect me in a year to 5 years to 10 years?
Yeah. Do you know what? I think, you're spot on. If something is not going to have a difference or make an impact on you in even 5 days, or even 5 days, don't spend longer than 5 minutes thinking about it.
Yes, that's it. That's a saying, isn't it, sort of thing?
I think that is something like, it's, for example, like I used the analogy with the car, your car getting sold, and it's your favorite car, and it's been like yours for so long. If you know that it's going to be gone in a week, don't just let it happen, because it's not going to be with you in 5 years. So why does it matter now? It's gone. You just need to accept that it's happening. Yeah. It's all about acceptance, I think. And I think with the overthinking topic, you will tend to repeat ourselves with the advice that we're giving, but it's about acceptance.
Yeah, and that's true. Because you often find it's a downward spiral.
Yeah.
So it's overthinking. If you look at it from a what's the right word I'm looking for? So what would you call snowballing? So kind of like a visual aspect.
I think it would just be snowballing.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to, like, if you were to picture what overthinking is and does, it's like the balloon philosophy that you came up with, and it's like snowballing. So one thing picks up after the other. So it could be like, imagine you're back in school, and it's like, I failed my mock exam, which means I'm going to fail my exams, which means I'm going to fail my GCSEs, which means I'm going to fail A-levels, which means I'm going to fail university, which means I'm not going to get a job, which means I'm going to get a divorce, I'm going to have no money to pay bills, which means I'm not going to be able to support my family. Do you know what I mean? It just goes, it just builds up.
I think a good point from that is when you start to do that and it starts snowballing, you forget what actually instigated the whole overthinking, and you forget the actual problem, that you become so involved in that feeling of anguish and disappointment and resentment that you don't even know why you're angry anymore.
That's so true. That's so true.
It's mad because I've had it quite a lot. Probably not recently, but I used to have it quite a lot where I used to be quite angry. I used to be so angry at, say, for example, my parents had told me that I can't go out somewhere or can't do this certain thing or whatever it is. And I've been so angry that I've not been able to go out that I've punched the wall. And now I'm thinking so much that, shit, I've damaged the wall. What am I going to do now? I start rubbing the wall and trying to find something to fix the wall that I've completely forgot that I've actually punched the wall because I couldn't go out.
Yeah, that's so right.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
I've done that.
You start to... It's like, you're right about the snowballing. Like, you pick up on so many things that the root of it is just forgotten about. And I think that's what we've got to remember is, like, it is natural to think about stuff. It's honestly completely normal to worry. Like, if you don't worry, then there's got to be a problem, because not everything is going to be smooth sailing in your life. Like, it's not just going to happen how you want it. But there's a level of overthinking and I keep saying it, accepting that if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. Let me try and think of a way to make the best out of this situation rather than think of the worst.
I think you should, that's very true. And you should also find, so if you just relive back before I called you the pod, there was something that was going on in my head and you reassured me. Yeah. And I think that's really crucial, finding someone that's, close to you and empathetic. And that to me really helps. So with other people, just look for assurance in other people. Say, I don't know, hey, am I overthinking this? What's your opinion on this?
This goes back to me saying that we don't often do this. We don't actually, like, I really appreciate the fact that you came to me this morning, like before this pod, and you told me your issue. Yeah. But a lot of guys won't say that. They won't come to you and say, look, Naf, like, I'm thinking about this. Should I do this? They'll just think about it and not even seek that reassurance. So that's an amazing point, Sam. Like, seeking that reassurance could be the turning point.
Yeah, well, it was for me anyway. It's just it, and if you think about it from the receiving end? So from your perspective, that's deepened my relationship with you, which is in turn enhanced trust.
Exactly, and now you know that you can come to me for reassurance.
Yeah, and
that's now one of your triggers, like a stress ball. If you know that the stress ball is going to make you feel better, whenever you're feeling that feeling of anguish or sadness, you'll be looking for this stress ball to calm you down. You no matter where you are, you'll be thinking, I need this stress ball. Just treat people like a stress ball. Just treat them to the point, not treat them, but like know that they're there to give you reassurance.
Yeah, and if you don't have any friends like that, then this is what we do preach every week. It's just even talking about it, writing your thoughts down, speaking to family, just the act of talking.
Yeah.
Get it out.
I think like, I was watching this film yesterday, and this woman was going through something, and she was so angry, but she didn't want to let it out. She muffled and screamed into a pillow so that obviously there was no voice echo. And I think that's what we're doing when we're overthinking. We're not doing it out loud, but we're letting our mind explode inside to the point that we just want to let something out. But little do we know is that if we just talked about it, that would be that release.
Yeah, it's like that whole concept with the balloon. So just imagine you're relieving some air out of that balloon before it pops.
Yeah, and you're just making it better for yourself, because you know that now I've gotten rid of the right amount of air for it to just stay afloat.
Yeah.
It's about balance. It's all about balance.
Yeah, it's often really hard to find that point of, am I overthinking? or am I underthinking? I think that would be the right term. So it's just on your judgment, really. If it's causing you to relive your mistakes, if you're constantly questioning what ifs, if you're reliving moments in your head, or playing out scenarios that are completely off charts, and you're just constantly worrying, then there is a high percentage chance that you're going to be overthinking.
I think it's just reminded me of something, Sam. I watched this YouTuber Chunks. I don't know if you've heard of him.
Yeah, funny.
Huh?
Yeah, Chunks. He plays games, doesn't he? Is that?
No. He does. No. Well, he's just an entertainer on YouTube. And
oh, sorry, I was thinking about somebody else. No.
Anyway, so basically, he did this travel guide thing with a guy called Young Philly and LV General, I think it was.
Yeah.
And basically, this was associated with Foot Asylum or whatever. But anyway, the point of this is he was on this travel guide. He was getting geared up to do a bungee jump. Right, and this is the perfect example, I think. Actually, he didn't end up doing the bungee jump because he was overthinking so much that something could go wrong. The bungee could snap. He might fall. He might trip. Whatever. And his friend LV General did the jump and was also worrying, but he just did the jump.
Right.
And he got over it, and he said it was the most exhilarating and amazing experience that he's ever been through. But Chunks couldn't relate to that because he didn't get over that overthinking phase. Don't make your overthinking phase something that you regret, that you wish you had done as well.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So he kind of regrets that he didn't bungee jump, because now LV General is saying all these positive things, like it's the best experience I've ever had, you should have done it, this, that, and Chunks can't relate to it. And I think with anything, we rile ourselves up so much to the point that we forget that it's something that we could just actually just enjoy.
Yeah, that's really reminded me of something that Will Smith said. This is completely random, but it relates scarily quite a lot to what you just said now. I can read off this transcript and I'll probably mess up, but it would take me like about a minute or something. Do you want? I'll just read it. It's actually really cool.
No, go for it.
So he did he stood up in front of an audience. This is a couple of years ago, and it's about jumping out of a plane. And I think the title was called Face Your Fears. So it says, Will Smith talks about leaping past your fears to realize they're only standing between you and the best life you can live. So in the transcript, it says, you can take a drink with your friends and somebody says, yeah, we should go skydiving tomorrow. You go, yeah, we'll go skydiving tomorrow. Yeah. Everybody goes, yeah. Then that night, you're laying in your bed and you just keep, you're terrified. You keep imagining over and over again jumping out of an airplane, and you can't figure out why you would do that. You wake up the next day and you go down, and you say you were going to meet, and everybody's there. You get in the van and be like, oh my god, your stomach is terrible. You can't eat everything. Sorry, I think the transcript on this is a bit messed up, but you get the idea. But you don't want to be the only punk who doesn't jump out of this airplane. You fly and you go up. You go up and up and up and up. You go 14,000 feet. Somebody opens the door, and in that moment, you realize you've never been in a freaking airplane with the door open. You're looking out down to death. They say one, and they say 1, 2, and he pushes you on 2 because people grab on 3. You go, you fall out the airplane, and in 1 second, you realize that it's the most blissful experience of your life. You're flying. That's zero fear. You realize the point of maximum danger is the point of minimum fear. It's bliss. Why are you so scared in your bed the night before? What do you need that fear for? Everything up to a stepping point. There's actually no reason to be scared. It only just ruins your day. The best things in life are on the other side of terror and on the other side of maximum fear. Are all the best things in life. So I appreciate that was quite long, but you see how it kind of relates and what he's saying. So it's just the point of you overthink so much to the point that you forget that you need to enjoy what you're doing. Yeah,
and it's sad really, because that level of happiness and contentment that you could have got from doing that one thing that you're overthinking about, you've ruined for yourself. And we ruin for ourselves because we spend so much time thinking negatively that something could go wrong, that we don't even appreciate that we can even do the thing.
Yeah, and if it's going to happen anyway, don't bother.
Exactly. Like I said about the car, like, you know it's going to get sold. So why are you worrying about it? It's done now. Like, just let it happen.
Yeah.
It's sad. That actually kind of, like, not made me emotional, but it just made me think, like, there have been so many points in my life, and probably in yours too, where we've spent so long worrying about something to the point that when it happens, we've forgotten to enjoy it. We've forgotten to just live that experience. Instead, we're living the fear.
I think with me as well, it happens every week. And, you know, I meditate, I go to the gym, I have focus points, and it still happens. So I don't think you can completely get rid of overthinking, because
no.
Be a bit of a brain dead zombie to an extent. But it's just about controlling it and recognizing. Let me ask you a question, right? Let me ask you a really deep philosophical question, right? Who is it that's aware that you're thinking?
Well, no one. Well, me.
Yeah, right. So who are your thoughts? Are you your thoughts?
I guess. Yeah.
It's hard, mate, isn't it? Because are you the one coming up with the thoughts, right?
Yeah.
This is the whole concept of meditation, right? So you're what it's called watching the thinker. So you're literally watching yourself think, and then when you realize that, you're like, holy shit! Like, step out of the bubble, and you're like, like, and you just watch yourself thinking. It's weird. It's so weird. And when you do that, like, I've done it so many times where I'm thinking, oh fuck, what if this happens? What if this happened? Like, and then I break out and I think, what? Why was I thinking that? And then when you actually look at it, it's like, I wasn't. Like, those thoughts weren't actually me. It's just, you know, it's really deep and philosophical, right?
You're so right, because now I'm looking back at certain points of my life where I was stressing and overthinking. It was just me doing that to myself. Nobody was putting them thoughts in my head. Yeah. It was me putting them thoughts in my head. And for what? Because the thing that I was worrying about happened anyway.
Yeah. So it's the whole sorry. Coronavirus. So it is the whole concept of who is it that's aware that I'm thinking. And I think when people listen to this, if you're thinking right now, it's hard. It's a very difficult concept to grasp, and I find it really hard to kind of ask people this. And once you get it, you get it. So when you're thinking, like, put yourself above that. Watch yourself thinking.
Yeah. And you'll stop yourself. You'll stop it. Because you'll realise how stupid it is that you're thinking about something that you can't change. Yeah,
and then you find peace.
Yeah, well, no, I think that we could go on, and I think everything that we say will be reiterating what we said at the start of the pod. Is don't make your heart and mind heavy by inflating it with negative things that you can't change. Relieve yourself from that stress. Accept that something's going to happen. Enjoy it if you can, and don't ruin the experience for yourself, because we are our own demons.
Yeah, and always remember, like, the future or the past isn't physical. Like, there's only what's happening now. You know what I mean? So like, whatever you're thinking about in the past, whatever you're thinking about in the future, it doesn't actually exist.
And it doesn't even matter until it happens.
Yeah, and in that moment. And when it does happen, it will be in the past.
Yeah, exactly. And you're right. As much as we should be forward thinkers, especially in this generation, Sam, like, with everything that's going on, we should be not worried, but we should be prepared for our future. The future is nothing until it happens. So you've got to worry about your present too. And if your mind's not in the right state, you need to get yourself out of this bubble of overthinking and accept the fact that the present you need to appreciate, and you need to just make the most of what's happening now.
Brilliant. Should we cap it off there?
Yeah, we can. But this is what? Bloody hell, Sam. Episode 16.
16 weeks. That's like... math.
We say this every week as well, but that is actually mad.
4 months. Every
4
week.
months, yeah.
Bloody.
Ain't that crazy?
Yeah, you can put up with me. I'll give you a gold star. Good man.
Well, anyway, this is it's actually quite a humbling experience, because often I will not listen to our whole pods over and over, but if I'm worried about something, I'll look back at the topics that we've spoken about, and I'll just listen to little portions of it.
Yeah.
And it just humbles me that we are giving this advice for people, but the first people that need this advice is us.
Yeah. It is kind of, I mean, we obviously do this for other people. That's the main premise, but it does help me, and I do the same thing. You know, I look at previous pods with a specific issue, and I think that's our goal at the end of the day, is to build an inventory of certain mental health related issues that people can gravitate to.
Yeah, it's just like a song. Like a certain song can be such a good trigger for you to put you in a positive mind state. It doesn't matter. You can listen to one of our old pods again and again and again. That could be your positive trigger.
Yeah, that's right, mate.
So, but yeah, anyway, we've been Just Mates. I've been Nafees.
I'm in Sam.
Remember, oh shit, I forgot to sign off.
A few moments later.
Remember to follow us on our social pages. I mean, I have noticed the YouTube views have gone down a little. Maybe there's something in our pods that isn't hitting the right spot for people. I mean, we want some feedback, really. Like if there's something that's not going well, or you want us to change, just let us know. Let us know in the comments on the YouTube channel, message us on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram. Just let us know, man. Like we want to get better at this, and as weeks go on, we want to help people more.
Yeah, I think, I mean, because we've been fairly busy doing our own things, or in our own head, or just been not in the same location. I think when we did that actual video recording, that was quite fun. And we can, instead of just doing specific topics, we can be a little bit more experimental. So I think you should pop round, or I'll come round, and we'll do a video recording or something. I think people will quite like that. I think we've got a couple of ideas as well.
Yeah, definitely. Well, there's a lot of things on the cards, but yeah, again, I'll a second time round, take 2. This is Just Mates. I've been Nafees.
I've been Sam.
And I'll see you later.
Yeah, bye.
Bye. Bye.